This is our Mcconnel Pa47 hedge cutter with 1.2 metre flail head. Today we're going to talk about our likes and dislikes of this machine and a few facts and figures about the machine. The hedge cutter is designed for tractors weighing at least 2.5 tonnes and with at least 60 PTO horsepower. In saying that, the hedge cutter in theory only requires 45 PTO horsepower, but I don't imagine any tractor with that horsepower would physically be able to handle its weight. One system that Mcconnell and other hedge cutter manufacturers could improve on is their counterbalance system. Logically, they have the oil tank mounted on the opposite side of the hedge cutter to the flail head. This provides good counterbalance through the weight of the oil. But the problem is that it's quite close in to the centre pivot point. If it was mounted further out, maybe on a sliding rail system that a hydraulic ram could push the tank out when in the field, that would give more leverage over the flail head and therefore provide better counterbalance. Now obviously on a road you couldn't slide the tank out because it may hit oncoming traffic, but in a field operation I think it would be a very useful system. Maybe they could add in a safety feature like a red light that would go out when the tank is fully retracted in for road use. Another issue I have with this hedge cutter is that the breakaway system is very limited. This design works on the principle that this main piece of steel here has a pivot point here, and when the machine hits an obstacle it would move backwards and this piece of steel would move forwards, allowing for a little bit of movement. The problem is that the bracing system on the top link doesn't allow this piece of steel to actually move forward relative to the machine, so it doesn't really work that well. On previous machines, Mcconnell had a breakaway system mounted here on the arm. This breakaway system had a little hydraulic cylinder that was pressurized, and if the main flail head hit a large obstacle, that cylinder would then retract, allowing the whole arm to move back. I think this was a better system, but certainly there may have been a reason that Mcconnell moved away from it. Maybe it was cost, maybe there was cracks in the arm, I'm not sure. They also have a shock absorption / very small breakaway system in this rubber bushing here. When pressure comes in the top link, it can move forward and backwards a little bit using that rubber bushing. A great feature of this particular hedge cutter is totally independent hydraulics. That means that there's no oil going between your tractor and the hedge cutter in any way. There's no pipes connected to the spool valves. These are just your cable controls to control your functions in the machine. That means that your PTO powers the pump on the machine. That controls all of your hydraulics, including the flail head and all of the arm features. This means that there's no hot oil going into the back end of your tractor, so your tractor doesn't get overly warm. It's just using the oil on the machine, which I think is a great job. Mcconnell did a great job of protecting the hydraulic pump on the end of the head using this steel bracket, and then kept the hoses nice and neat, protected by another bracket here, and obviously the spring that goes around the pipes, which is a great job. There's also a plate here to protect these hoses, and a plate here to protect all the hoses going up and down the machine, along with these fabric sleeves to keep all the hoses nice and neat and tidy. I wish the guard was like the old plastic guard, however. I think the steel guard is inclined to rust. If you hit it off anything, it might bend. In saying that, obviously plastic could break. It also rattles sometimes if you don't have it just perfectly set, and I just think it looks a little bit cheaper than the original plastic guards that they had on the machine. Other manufacturers have belt drives, whereas Mcconnell has a direct drive of the flail head, i.e. the pump directly drives the flail head rather than being mounted further back and belts going between the two. This means that Mcconnell loses less power. However, the belt systems would have a little bit of safety in the sense that the belts could slip or break if you hit a large obstacle. I think Mcconnell have done a great job at producing a lightweight yet durable and fairly easy to operate hedge cutter for the average farmer with an average sized tractor. I think with a few tweaks like a better breakaway system and possibly a better counterbalance system, I think Mcconnell have a great hedge cutter for the average farmer.